What is going on, you guys? It's SPLYCE here, bringing you guys a brand new, the latest in COD esports news. Today's we're going to be covering some EU COD and some NA COD. And a couple things before we start is one, above all, majority of these articles are coming from gamers.com, so I will be linking their Twitter in the description below. Gabriel's right over there just chilling, so don't mind him. He's just here relaxing. And third of all, if my screen is blue, I was just using my PS4 and decided to make this video, so there is that. First of all, I'm going to be covering the EU Call of Duty scene, which there have been rumors stating that Team Infused might be splitting up. Team Infused is the fourth longest lasting Call of Duty roster in terms of the Black Ops 3 season, which consisted of Urban, PD, Zero, and Marky B. And of course, there's been speculation, not because of the fact that they're arguing or anything, it's because they're underperforming, and their performances at every tournament have actually been declining by a lot. Team Infused was a huge powerhouse in the EU League when it came to the CWL, and of course they had good showings at MLG Anaheim, somewhat MLG Orlando, but then when it came to COD Champs, it just they didn't really show up, just straight to the losers bracket and then just down out of the tournament, just like, you know, they didn't really show up or put, like, I wouldn't say that they didn't put effort, it's just that their showing wasn't as good as in past tournaments. So of course, because of the fact that they were declining in terms of performance at these tournaments, they might potentially be deciding to split up. No official word has been said by the organization, however, and they will be making a public statement on social media addressing this problem as soon as, you know, word comes out from the roster. But this is just rumors and speculation in terms of Team Infused. Now let's talk about something that is actually fact, that SPLYCE's JOSHH got dropped from the Call of Duty roster. He did tweet out that he got dropped and that he doesn't know what he's going to be doing with the rest of his competitive career. Now, there were a little bit of statements made about this, not from the organization itself, but from Joe, also from SPLYCE. He was saying how, for example, he was bad with communicating, such as, you know, when it came to practice or doing something to better themselves as a team, and how they would constantly argue over, you know, the simplest things instead of getting better, and it was just a lot of turmoil within the team. And SPLYCE is really looking for a long-term team that, you know, they'll be able to improve and get along with. Obviously, you want a team that you can get along with, because if you hate someone on your team, you're not want to get online and practice, because you're just gonna be like, oh, I gotta go play with this guy again, and it's just a whole mess of things. So of course, SPLYCE, another powerhouse from the EU CWL League, and they had alright performances at Anaheim. You know, they did show up to Orlando, but they got pretty good performances. And at COD Champs, well, obviously they got second. They fell short against Team Envious at the grand finals, and that's just the way it is. But that really surprised everyone. That is the highest EU placing at any COD Champs tournament ever. At first it was Epsilon, I believe it was at COD XP, they got 7th, and now all of a sudden they got 2nd, and it's crazy. And so a lot of people were actually very surprised about this, but I personally think that it was a good move on SPLYCE's side of things, because if you want a long-term organization or a long-term roster, of course, you don't want to have any turmoil within the team. You want to make sure everyone's on a good page, everyone's communicating well. And sure, Joe did state that he actually found it very surprising that they, of course, made it to second place at COD Champs because of the fact of the lack of practice that they were having. He found it very surprising. So, you know, imagine if they were practicing, if they did communicate better, maybe they would have performed better at Anaheim, maybe they would have gone to Orlando, hell, maybe they wouldn't have fell to the losers bracket and they would have won COD Champs. Who knows? But there is that. JOSHH got dropped from SPLYCE, unfortunately, and there's no word as to who they picked up yet, but we're going to have to wait and see what's going to go down. Now let's go ahead and move on to some NA COD. So of course, I'm just gonna throw this out there really quickly. I know that there's a lot of OPTIC fans and stuff, so I'll go ahead and get this out of the way. That Scump actually just came back from vacation. He made a post COD XP vlog, and I think a little before uploading that vlog, he actually stated that no roster changes will be made. I think that this is a good move on the side of OPTIC in terms of an organization. Now, I'm not a huge OPTIC fan. I don't hate on them, but I'm not too fond of them. I'm a huge Team Envious fan, but I still personally think that that's a good choice for them to make. I don't think that the team is tired of each other, and of course, if you were to put the top 10 Call of Duty players of, you know, in Black Ops 3, I think easily the OPTIC roster could be even in the top 5. Actually, they're very solid players, and I think that, you know, I think they were just a little bit under practice when it came to champs. Other teams were practicing 8+ hours, and then when their team stopped practicing, of course, they would go on and play wagers. They'd play 8s lobbies to keep themselves fresh and familiar with the game, while OPTIC was only playing maybe 5 to 6 hours a day, which I think was a little bit short for what COD champs was, but nonetheless, it's safe to say that for the rest of the Black Ops 3 season, and of course for Infinite Warfare, that there are not going to be any roster changes, and I think that's a good thing. And I personally think that as long as OPTIC keeps playing, who knows, maybe they can also be at the same dynasty that Complexity was back in the day, and they have the potentials of doing that, but they always fall short when it comes to that 3rd or 4th tournament, and of course they have not won a COD champs while Complexity has. So, you know, I know Cryptic has made many statements about he wants to be the best team ever for Call of Duty, but, you know, obviously you're going to have to put the time and effort into it, and I don't doubt that they can do it, but we're just going to have to see what happens with Infinite Warfare. Of course, also eUnited announces their UMG Orlando roster, which is now consisted of Accuracy, Pac-Man, Legal, and Silly, and will also be coached by Burns. And also Ivy and Wheats got dropped from eUnited now. And in case you guys didn't know, eUnited is actually the old TSM team, and of course Ivy and Wheats did get dropped, unfortunately. And obviously this roster has been a consistent top 12. Nothing too out of the ordinary with this team. I think that they could potentially be a top 8 team max. That's pushing it, but it's just a little bit of news going on either way, you know, just to go ahead and put that out there. And speaking of Ivy getting dropped, Ivy then got picked up by Renegades. And also, before I get into that, this did happen a couple of days ago, almost a week ago, and I know I am late on this, but KILLA actually ended up getting dropped from Renegades. And the whole thing about that is because during their last match at COD Champs, they were actually already eliminated from the tournament. It was mathematically impossible for them to go on to bracket play. KILLA ended up not showing up for the last match. Of course, that's very unprofessional, and Renegades decided to drop him. Now, I don't think he was complaining or bashing on Renegades whatsoever on social media, which I think he's very aware of what he did. But of course he got dropped for that, so of course it is now Sender, Diabolic, and Chino along with Ivy that picked up Renegades. So while Ivy got dropped from eUnited, he got picked up on Renegades, and both these rosters will be headed into UMG Orlando come October. So that's pretty much it for the news today, guys. I'm going to be trying to make these videos once a week because not a whole lot of stuff goes on in the, you know, in the Call of Duty news side of stuff, and especially around this time of year, not a lot happens because the season is pretty much over now. So I'll be making these videos once a week. I don't know when, maybe during the weekend. And yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys did enjoy it. If you did, make sure to leave a like, rate, subscribe if you haven't already. And that's pretty much it. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.